welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and we're doing Fog of War today. We've got a puzzle here called Nabner In The Nebula, version 2, by the constructor GDC. Now, I've never done a GDC puzzle before. I think Mark has on the channel. But I'm looking forward to trying this. I've read the rules and they are intriguing because this is not only Fog of War. So for those of you who don't know, Fog of War is this variant of Sudoku where if you can deduce a correct digit and say you worked out what this digit was and you put, I don't know, let's say it was a 1 and you put that in the grid, it will clear the fog from all of the surrounding cells. And the idea is that you don't cheat. So what you mustn't do is sort of go to this cell and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in. You will get one of them right. You will reveal things, but it's not how the puzzle was intended to be solved. So this is Fog of War, but it's also Nabner lines. But we can't see any Nabner lines, and a little bit of X sums as well. So it's an intriguing rule set. And I'm looking forward to giving it a go in a moment or two's time. What do I have to tell you about first? A few things. Firstly, do check out Hugo Schneider's puzzle X. We know lots of you have been looking at this. This is a puzzle that it's obviously a 6x6. It has a diagonal constraint. In order to solve it smoothly, in inverted commas, you do need to know some Sudoku theory. I had a crack at it, and that video is going to be on Patreon anytime soon. So I'll just leave it there. Yeah. Have a look at the puzzle. It's cool. What else did I need to mention? We've got more stuff coming up on Patreon. Obviously, we're closing in on the closing date for the Sudoku Hunt competition for September. We've got, what else have we got? We've got the Skunk Works are busy preparing our Sudoku Hunt for October's monthly reward, so that's going to be jolly cool. We've got the new merch here. Look at all these pictures, and the pictures are in the right place for once, which is great. There was something else I was meant to mention, but I mustn't forget people's birthdays today. I've got a few birthdays to do. I'm going to start off with Elvis. Elvis, it's your birthday, and Elvis has turned 2 today. Good boy, Elvis. Well done. Now, this came in from Elvis's owner, Justin, who lives in Denver, Colorado. And I do feel a bit sorry for Elvis, because apparently what happens is Elvis has got used to the fact that when the Cracking the Cryptic theme music comes on, he normally gets fed. So he goes to sit by the television waiting, sort of Pavlovian response, waiting for food. Oh, Elvis. Well, I hope you have a very nice... I don't think you can have chocolate cake if you're a dog, but I hope you have a very nice doggy equivalent right now. Literally right now. Next, Guido, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your friend, I think it's Mirtha. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I understand Guido and Mirtha and a couple of their friends are the national escape room champions of the Netherlands. Now that is a cool thing to be. I mean, escape rooms didn't really exist about 15, 20 years ago, did they? So it's a completely new championship. I have to confess something now. I have never done an escape room. I would love to do an escape room, but somehow I didn't do one before COVID, and then COVID happened and sort of escape rooms were off the menu. But I think I would enjoy escape rooms, but I've never done one. Anyway, Guido, happy birthday. Oh, and Mirtha also told me to say "ba" to you. I do not know what that means, but I have said it. Next, Parker, you've turned 19 today. And I know this because your friend Maddie wrote to us. I think you're over in Kentucky. And Maddie asked me to mention that your friendship means so much to her. And, oh, yes. And also, yes, hang on. There was one other part of that message. I think I have to wish you a happy birthday, not only from Maddie, but from Bear the Dinosaur. These messages are getting stranger and stranger. So Bear the Dinosaur, Parker, also wishes you a happy birthday. I hope you have cake. And finally, Rosanna. Your partner Ian wrote to us and said you'd appreciate a shout out. This birthday message comes from Ian and from Dasher the cat, and I think you've got a week off planned to have a home holiday. Well, I hope that goes really well, and I hope today you can celebrate with chocolate cake. That's all the birthdays. Let's have a look at Nabner in the Nebula V2 by GDC. These are the rules. Let me put my fingers on the keyboard. As Maverick. Did you hear Maverick? He just flew past. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each into every row, column and box of the Sudoku. That's normal. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Fog of war. So the grid is covered in fog. Placing correct digits reveals clues in the surrounding 3x3 area. And then we've got Nabner lines. So every pair of digits on a golden Nabner line must have a difference of 2 or more, i.e. if 5 is on a line, 4, 5 and 6 cannot appear anywhere else on the line. So this it's like a strict non-consecutive constraint. So let me, I'm not going to be able to do this without potentially revealing fog. Hang on, let me, golden isn't it? So let's draw a line. If this was a line under the fog, let's go to small numbers, then it won't reveal anything. And we worked out this square here was a 2. Then you couldn't have 1 or 3 in any of these positions, because obviously 1 or 3 are consecutive with 2, and that breaks the rules of the Nabner. So the rules of the Nabner prescribe that you mustn't do that. Now we've also got x sums. So numbers outside the grid give the sum of the first x digits along that row or column, the x sum in inverted commas, where x is the first digit seen from the direction of the clue. So if this square, if that square was a 5, for example, that would mean that the first 5 cells in this column have to sum up to 19. Obviously including the 5. So those cells, whatever you put in those, would add to 19. I don't think this could be 6, because you couldn't make those 6 digits keep down to as low a total as 19, because the triangular number for 6 is 21. So that's that. There's one more paragraph of rules. It says, in addition to any Nabner lines revealed as the fog lifts, every x sum forms a hidden Nabner line at least x cells long, starting from the cell closest to the clue. So what that's telling us is, what it's telling us is that's not a 5, actually. That's quite funny. See if you can work out why. But yeah, what it's saying is that these, that's thrown me, actually. Say, well, it doesn't matter. Let's say the Nabner line or the x sum went like that and covered 4 cells. You'd have to make up those 4 digits from non-consecutive values, which is interesting, actually. And that's all the rules. So do have a go at Nabner in the Nebula by GDC. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I'm going to start off with why that can't be a 5, and indeed these can't be 5s. And that's because if we do make this 5, we've got to fill these 5 cells with digits that sum to 19 without any of those digits being consecutive. So you can, I think it's fairly clear that you could put, if this is 5, you could put 3 and 1 in the sum. That would be fine. 3 and 1 are non-consecutive with each other, and that would get you to a count of 9. But what are your next 2 digits then? The lowest next digit you could possibly have would be 7. And once you put the 7 in, the next digit you've got to have is the 9. And that's all the odd digits, and they're going to sum to 25. So there is absolutely no way that this can be a 5. Yeah, that's the simplest way to think about it. A 5-cell Nabner line, if you think of the digits 1 to 9 lined up in front of you, and you've got to take 5 digits such that they're non-consecutive, you're obviously going to just have to pick all the odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9 is more than 19. So this digit, and this digit are, well, they're 3 or 4 then, aren't they? They're 3 or 4 because You can't put 2 here, because if you put 2 here, you've got to put 17 in the next cell, and that's too big. There's a knowledge problem for you from cracking the cryptic. 3 is fine. 3, you just get left with 16 for the next 2 digits, which would be 7 and 9. And 3, 7 and 9 are non-consecutive. Now 4, I've put 4 in. In fact, here's an interesting point. I put 4 in assuming it would work, but actually I do know it works without thinking about it, or thinking about it for only a second or two, because if it didn't, that would mean all 3 of those numbers were 3, which would mean all of these digits had to be 7 and 9, and that's a problem in row 3, and row 2 in fact, because you'd have 3 different cells that have to all be selected from 2 different numbers. So 4 must appear in at least one of these cells. Yeah, okay. But well, let's work out what the options are for 4. Because you can only have 1 digit that's lower than 4, can't you? You obviously can't have 3. But you could have 1 or 2. But then the next lowest digit you could have would be 6. So you're going to have the minimum you could have would be 6, 4, 1, which is 11. And okay, so that's the only way it will work. You've got to have. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky this. Let me just show you. So 4 here. Now you can see that now 3 and 5 are off limits for the line. If this was a 4 coming down here, you can't have 3 or 5 within these 4 cells because that's going to break the Nabner constraint. If you don't have any lower digits than 4, then the minimum you're going to have is 4, 6, 8, say, and then broken. So there's got to be a lower digit than 4. Now that can't be 3, so we know there's a 1 or a 2 on the line. Next digit that we can't have 5, so we could have a 6 or a 7, but not both. And then the last digit we can have would be an 8 or a 9, but not both. So we have to select 1 from each of these pairs. And if you pick the lowest, that would be 1, 6, 8, which I think adds up to 15. Add that to 4, we get 19. So that's in fact therefore the only way of doing it, because we have to pick the lowest from the remaining pairs that we have available to choose from. So what was that? That was 4, 4, 1, 6, 8. So we've got 4, 1, 6, 8 or 3, 9, 7. Right, but here's another thought then. Those two are not the same flavour of X sum. Because if that was 397 and that was 397, we're right back where we started. And if that was 4168 and that was 4168, that cell is impossible to fill. So these are different, right? So we need to colour. We need to colour on top of the fog. These are different. Right, and that one is also therefore not. It's not the same flavour as green, because again, if this was 397 and that's 397, that doesn't work. If that's 4168 and that's 4168, that doesn't work. So that's also purple. So now purple, which is not green, is in one of those squares. Oh, hang on, I wanted to do that. That's weird. I thought that was going to make those two white, because I clicked on the white flasher, and the white flasher actually became a grey flasher. Goodness me. Okay. So, what does that mean? Well, I tell you what that means. That means this is 4. Because if these were both 3, then that would be 397. This would be 397. By Sudoku, where would 397 go in row 1? Into these squares. But that square, if this is 397, that square is a 4. So you can't put 397. That's That's really, really brilliant, GDC. That's very unusual I've never seen that in Fog of War before, but I think this is going to be huge because I'm going to be able to just put 4s in here. Oh, there we go. And that's going to be a 3. And all of a sudden, now there's a 4 in one of these squares, and we are off to the races. Yeah, okay, so what I might do now, actually, is try and draw these Nabner lines in. Can I do that? Yes, I can. That one's got to go there. That one's got to go there. And I suppose we can put the natural extensions in, can't we, of these x sums. Right, and that gives us some Sudoku to do. Outrageous. It is outrageous. Having just complimented you like that, GDC, you would let yourself down by making me do Sudoku so early. But surely those 2 digits are very constrained from a Sudoku perspective. Because that, I mean, they both see 4168 in their rows, and they both see 397 in their boxes, so they have to be a 2-5 pair. And in fact, I can see how that's going to resolve, because 3 is on this Nabner line, so 2 definitely isn't. So that's a 5. Oh, this is gorgeous, this puzzle. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, let me just see what that's... So that's going to put a 2 up there. It's going to put a 2 over... Oh, no, nearly. So there's a 2 over in one of those 2 squares. Obviously, it can't go there because that would be on a line with a 3. Oh, look at that one. That can't be 6 anymore because it's on a line with a 5. I'm going to check this digit just to see what its options are. It can't be any of those. So it's got to be 2, 3, 7 or 9. Well, it's not 2 or 3, so it is 7 or 9. It's not 2 or 3, obviously, again. That would break with this green cell. Right, so that's a 7-9 pair. That's good. So these squares are 2... And no, I was going to say 2 and 4, but that's clearly not true. It's 2 and 3, isn't it? Okay, that's interesting. Oh, that's great. Yeah, okay, so again, this Nabner line now comes into its own. That can't be 3, so that's 2, I think. Great, so that's 2. That's 3. This looks like it wants to be one of those Nabner lines that's 4 cells long and is full of even digits. These squares have to be high because they can't be 1s, 3s or 5s, or they'll be consecutive with something here, and they can't repeat 2 and 4. So those squares are from 6, 7, 8 and 9. This Nabner line is growing down the grid, isn't it? It's going at least to there. And... I don't know. I've got a horrible feeling what I'm meant to do here is do a lot of pencil marking. I'm very happy to do it. Let's have a look at this string of digits. So we haven't placed 3, 5, 7 and 9 into these squares, and we're going to be able to limit this one. That can't be 3 or 5, so that's 7 or 9. Oh no, that still does give me a pair. I was looking at this, thinking about this square, but no, look, there is still a 7-9 pair there. So these are not 7 and 9, so this is 3 or 5, which means you can't put 4 anywhere on this line. But if this is a short line, we already can't put 4 on it. We can't put 8 on this line because that will clash with this one. We can have one digit that's lower than 4 into those squares. It's almost interesting, but I don't think I can quite do anything with that. I mean, it does mean that there is a high digit in here that has to be 6, 7 or 9, I think. I'm just thinking about this line and how it must work. We've got to have a digit that's lower than 4. Otherwise we can't possibly make this line all non-consecutive. So that's going to, so one of these is a 1 or a 2. Obviously, if it was that one, that would be very helpful. One of these is a 1 or a 2. What's the other one, I think, is the question we need to ask. And it's not 5, is it? Because 5 would be consecutive with 4. So it's got to be at least 6, but it can't be 8. So one of these is from 6, 7, and 9. And one of them is from 1 and 2. Bobbins. That's so annoying. I don't think I can do anything with that. What about that then? No, this is not going to be... Is this going to be fruitful somehow? I don't think it is. Let's think about this. So this square, it can't be 2, 3, 7, 9. It also can't be 1 because that would be consecutive with 2. So the actual options for that square are 4, 5, 6, 8, I believe. Wow. I mean, is that really the full panoply of options there? That's extraordinary. Okay. That's definitely not what I was expecting. This is bizarre. What on earth am I meant to do here? Have I missed an absolute sitter or something in the top of the grid? Because I can't... Oh, it's going to be something on this line. There's stuff I haven't resolved at the top because I just don't think there's enough information to get any further at this point. Let me just think about this. There's a 5 up here. Can I resolve that? Oh yes, of course. Look, there we go. I knew this couldn't be right because there's just nothing to go on. That's 7, 9. That can't go on a line with 8, can it? So that's a 1. Here we go. Right, I feel so relieved about that. Now this line is bouncing back into row 4 again. Oh no. I was going to ask where 1 went in this row, because it can't go there and it can't go on this Nabner line because there's a 2 on it. But it can go in any of those 4 cells, I think. 3 is the same question. Actually, 3 is better. 3 is much better. Where's 3 in this row? 3 can't go here. It's not in either of these 2 squares. It can't go on this line, and it can't go on this line. It would be consecutive with 4. So 3 is very restricted. That's not really progressed the world, has it? What's going on here? Is this okay? Can I make exactly the same pencil mark? Yeah, this must be the same principle. This is 4, 5, 6, or 8, isn't it? 4, 5, 6, or 8. So, oh, this is tricky. Let me think. What's going on? I normally with Fog of War they get easier once you can reveal what's under the fog. I can't put 1 or 3 on this line at all. I don't. Certainly that can't be a 5, can it? If that's a 5, that has to be an 8. But then what's that number? Because 2, 5 and 8 will be on this line, and I don't think that's possible because that's sort of the middle of the modulo lines, isn't it? Once you put 2, 5 and 8 on a Nabner line, it's impossible to extend the Nabner line, because what are you going to put on the next digit? 1 is consecutive with 2, 3 is consecutive with 2, 4 is consecutive with 5, 6 is consecutive with 5, 7 is consecutive with 8, and 9 is consecutive with 8. So there is no way. And you can see if you put 5 here or 5 here, you force the other digit to be 8. So that cannot be true. So this is now looking like it's a fully even line, is it? But is that forced? Does that have to be? Oh, why can't I see that? Come on, Simon. If that's a 4, yeah, okay, this is not a 4, I'm going to claim now as my next tiny deduction. Because if this is a 4, that is a 6 or an 8, and that is some high number. Because if you put 4 on the Nabner line, then 1, 3 and 5 are also ruled out of the Nabner line. And these two are going to be high, these two are high, and I think I said one of these two had to be a high number. So there'd be too many digits in this row that have to be from 6, 7, 8 or 9, so that can't be 4. I don't think the logic applies here though, because if that's 4, then I think you're okay, aren't you? Because that could be 6. We can put one high digit in this sequence. Maybe the point is that these, okay, because one of these is going to be high, isn't it? We can't have, yeah, that's clearly true. How could these two digits are not 5 or below, because 2's already gone. So it's impossible for these two to be 5 or below. I mean, think about it. If that's 4, that has no option if we're only allowed to choose from 1, 3 and 5. So there's definitely one high digit here. There's definitely one high digit here. So 6, 7, 8 and 9 are in these 6 cells, which means these two digits and this digit are low numbers. And this can't be 1 or 3, so that's 2, 4 or 5, but it's not on a Nabner line. I don't think it, no, it's really not. And these are low numbers. So these are from 1, 2, 3, oh, 4, 5, oh, that's horrible. That can't be 4. I know there's a 3 in one of these two. Botheration. Okay. Well, I'm not actually sure that we have we got much further then? I don't know. So if that's 8, that's going to have to be 6, and that's going to have to be 4 then, isn't it? We are going to be in even territory. Why can't I understand this? One of these is low. I do know that. One of these is low. But the one on here that's low... Oh. So that is it true to say that there's a 4 in one of these two squares? I think it is. That's really interesting. Okay, it's a question of coming up with exactly the right framing of the question. We know these two can't be high, so one of them is from 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. But this one can't be 5 and this one can't be 5. And therefore, actually, the low digit is from 1, 2, 3 and 4, but it's not from 2 and it can't be from 1 or 3, so there's definitely a 4 on this line. That's beautiful. I have to, fair play, I mean, that's not easy to see and it might not do anything. Oh, hang on. But it's certainly true. One of these is a 4. So now there's no... Oh, nearly. Oh, I thought I had a brilliant idea then, but I haven't. I was wondering where 5 went in this row. I mean, it clearly now can't go in any of these cells. So 5 is either here or in this little domino thing. So hang on, didn't we work out that 1? No, because 1 can go on this line, I think. Golly, this is complicated. This is difficult. Okay, let me think about this a bit harder. Are there any lines that I'm not thinking about here? Quite possibly. Is there something I know about this line? I mean, if that's 9, that's 4, and that's 6, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I know that there's no 8 on this line, but I think there can be 8 in this string. I think there can anyway. One of these is 4, so this line then has to have digits. Apart from the 4, it's got to have digits from 6, 7, 8 and 9. So if this was 8, this was 8, then you couldn't put 7, 9 on this line, could you? And you'd need to have 4 on it. So you'd have to, the other digit would definitely be 6. So if this is 8, this is a 4, 6 pair. That would make this a 7, 9 pair, I suppose. And if this is 6, then what options do you have? You then can't put 7 or 5 on this line. We know you can't have 5 on it. You then can't have 7 on the line. So if this is 6, why couldn't I have 9 on this line exactly there? I think that's the one case where I can get an odd digit onto this line. 6 here, 9 here. That would make this a 6, 8 pair. It would make this a 4. It would require me to put 7 on this line. That would be a 9. And then I'd have to have a low digit on here as well. Goodness me, this is complicated. All right, and I fully appreciate I'm just not spotting the trick here. And this happens. We solve these live, and we often get stuck. Okay. Oh. So. And also, I feel like it's very close to the tipping point, because I think literally one deduction here is going to throw this open, isn't it? So 5 we worked out was in one of these squares in the row. If that's a 5, that has to be a 3. Maybe it's this line then. Maybe there's some. I did look at this pair though, didn't I? I worked out there had to be a high digit that couldn't be 8. So there's a 6, 7 or 9 on this line. But I don't know which cell it is. And there's a 1 or a 2 on the line. Which gives me a 1, 2, 3, 5 virtual quadruple in those 5 squares. Oh dear. No, I'm just not seeing it, am I? I'm letting the world down here. Or at least letting myself down. Come on, Simon. What are you missing? Is it? Have I read the rules properly? There's Fog of War, there's Nabner, there's X sums, but I think we've done the X sums, haven't we? I think we've done the X sums, so it's not X sums. Is there some rinky-dink about these squares? These squares are not Nabnered, so they have to be Sudoku'd to sort them out. 3 and 5 in this row are not there. Oh, hang on, that couldn't... Yeah, we worked out there was a 3 here. That's certainly true. And 5, is there a reason 5 can't go here? That would be a good reason, because that would shift. Oh, we also worked out that 1 had to be in one of those 4, didn't we? So if the 1 was over here, that would be a 1-3 pair, and then this would be a 5. But if the 1 is on this line, what's that doing? That's knocking these down to 2, 3, 5. This is intriguing. I don't know. I don't know what I'm missing here. I'm so sorry if this is obvious. It probably is at this point, because, I mean, the great thing about Fog of War is it is so linear. But I know I'm just going to articulate what I've done here almost certainly, which is I won't have spotted that cell is possibly consecutive with something on this line, or the same down here, and you'll all be shouting at me, but I'm sorry, I just am not seeing it. Where's that digit in this row? Now it could be there, couldn't it? But only if it's a 6. Otherwise, that digit has to be on this line, which is mildly interesting. Yeah, so if this is an 8, you have to put... Oh, what was that noise? Yeah, if this is 8, you have to put 8 over here then, because 8 can't go on this line. It obviously can't repeat in its own box. It doesn't seem to be able to go over there. So if that's 8, 8 is over there, and it has to be partnered up with 6, which is going to mean... that doesn't... That's it. That can't be an 8. Golly gosh. Wow. Okay. I don't think this can be 8, but let's do it slowly together and check that we agree. If this is 8, where is 8 in the row? Well, it has to be over here, which means that has to be 8, 6, which means this has to be 4. So we've got 2, 4, 8 on this line at the moment, but we can't put 6 on it here. So what can we put on it? The answer's nothing. 8 takes out 7 and 9. 4 takes out 3 and 5. We can't put 6 on it because of Sudoku. And it just breaks. That's really clever. That's really clever. There we go. And it's right. Okay, sorry, I was being slow, but that was just very clever. It's a very clever setting. We just have to take our hats off to GDC and say that is smart. And it was smarter than I was for too long. But at least we've got another digit. Although look, it's not actually done a great deal of good for us. It really hasn't. That's mean. Okay, maybe we can do something with 5. No, 5 we've already thought about. 7 maybe? Is there something going on with... Or now I know 4. So I've now got 2, 4 and 6 for sure on this line. So the other digit is going to be from 8 and 9. So this square here is 4, 8 or 9. It must be one of those things. Right. And I must have an 8 or a 9 in one of these squares, mustn't I? Because this can't be selected from 6, 7. So these 4 squares now contain an 8 and a 9. But these two squares had to contain a high digit, which we're saying is 6 or 7. Therefore, well, if it's 6, it has to go there. And if it's 7, then what are we saying? It can be in either cell, but that would be a 9, which is neither here nor there, I think. Okay, I'm not sure then. I'm still highly unsure that we've actually... Surely it can't be to do with these lines that have just emerged from the fog. Can it? Maybe it is, but I don't know. I like this though. I like, I really, really respect puzzles that baffle me, even though I feel they shouldn't. This is clever. Well, it's cleverer than me. That's a different thing altogether. So one of these is, if that's got an 8 on it, that has to include the 9 and either 6 or 7. If this has 9 on it, this has to be 6, 8, and this has to have 7 on it, and that will be 9. Yeah, but this could have 6 on it, couldn't it? Is that always 9? Is that the point? If this is 7, how does this line work? Yeah, that's a problem, isn't it? That's the critical next question. If this is 7, the problem then is that the high digit we know must exist in these two squares has to be a 9, because 7 has knocked out 6 and 8. And it can't be 9 because we know that there's a virtual 9 in one of those 4 cells. So that has to be 9. And it's... God, we pulled another rabbit out of the hat. Right. Okay. So now... No, I was going to say, well, we already know. What's that doing? Oh, well, hang on. It has extended... Oh! Wow. Okay, well, this has now got easier. Okay, because something has emerged from the fog here as a result of placing this 9. And now, how on earth are these 3 squares non-consecutive? Well, there's no way they can have 2 in them. They've got to be a 1, 3, 5 triple. And the 1 has to be here. And didn't we say there had to be a 1 or a 2 on this line? I think we did. Let's just double check our logic. We know we've got a high digit here somewhere. We can't have 5, so we've got to have a digit from 6 or 7, and the other digit's going to have to be from 1 and 2. And we now know it can't be 1, so it is 2 and it goes there. Bingo. That's now a 5. Oh, okay, that's great. I thought I'd broken the puzzle, but no, that's fine, isn't it? So we get to do a bit of Sudoku there. We get to put a 5 here. We get to put a 3 here. That square is... Oh, it's not 6. Okay, and it could never have been 6. That would have been consecutive. So that's just high. It's 7 or 8. Can't be 9 for this reason. What is that digit? That is a 7, I think. I'm not going to put it in, but that's what it feels like it has to be. It can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can't be 8. And it can't be 6. So it is 7. Oh, that doesn't... Yeah, see, that's not close enough to fog to be confirmed by anything. But now 7 comes out of here. So 6 is on here. Let's just put that in the corner, along with 8 or 9. 7 is down here. There's another line I'm now seeing that's sort of developing in the fog. I don't know what this one's doing, but that's certainly the bones of a line. There's another 4-cell line in here that doesn't have a 5 on it. Right. So this 4-cell line has got 2 low digits, i.e. 2 of the digits that are lower than 5, and 2 high digits. And the 2 that are high digits are set... Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. GDC, I love that. Right. I now know this has got 7 and 9 on it. And that's because I know 6 is here. And this must have two digits that are higher than 5, because it can't have 5 itself. So the two higher digits, if they don't include 6 and they're not allowed to be consecutive with each other, have to be 7 and 9. And that takes 9 out of there, which makes this 6, 8, which makes that a 4, I think, and that a 9. It's disconcerting when nothing happens when you put digits in these puzzles. So 1, 2, 5, 8 down here. 1, 2, 5, 8. Okay, this has got 7, 9. Which means that the fog cells here have to be from 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's not 2, 4. That's not 1, 3. So this digit is stopping that being a 3. That's not very useful. What's that doing then? Is it doing anything at all that's in any way good for the world? Again, the thing is, you can put 2, 5, and 8 on the line. Okay, what's that cell? Because that cell at least sees 5 Sudoku digits. That has to be 1, 2, or 3. It can't be 3, that would be consecutive here. So it's 1, 2, or 8 only. That's weird. Maverick's getting lower and lower as well. So what is that saying? I don't know. I don't know what it's saying. It probably is saying something crucial. But I don't think I know what it is, do I? This puzzle is baffling. It's really cool, but it is baffling. Or it could be... Oh, I almost had a good idea then. My good idea were where do 1 and 3 go in this row? Now, the problem is I think this can be a 3, but otherwise I'd have known that 3 was in one of those squares, and for some reason that appeals to me as a deduction. 1, 2, and 3 are not in these squares. So 2 is in one of those 4 squares. Oh, here's a thought. Oh goodness me, this is a weird thought. One of these squares has to be an 8. Because if neither of these was an 8, then this line would be selected from 1s, 2s, 4s and 5s, and by the time you've picked the third number you will bump into one of the others. So one of those is an 8. I don't even know how to pencil mark that. I'm just going to do that to tell me one of these is an 8. Now what does that mean? That means none of these is an 8. Because one of these is an 8, none of these can be an 8. That can't be an 8. There we go, there's a tiny deduction. That would knock 8 out of both of those squares. So it's not going to do anything, is it? It's infuriating. One of these is an 8. So can we pull... Maybe we can pull another trick out of the hat there. Or not, actually. If that's 2, that's 8. That's 5 then. And we know that 285 is the deadly combination, where this line then couldn't extend anywhere. But we don't know whether it does extend anywhere. Probably, well, it definitely wouldn't if that was... So what we're saying is if that's 2, that is 8, that is 5. Two, 8, 5. This then is 1. So this would be 2, 8, 5. This would be a 1, 5 pair. This would be a 2, 8 pair. But I think that's probably all right, isn't it? I don't know. That digit has to find a home in one of those two squares. That's almost seems to want to put an... Oh, hang on. Yes. No. Because if it's 7, it doesn't have to find a home. It's there, isn't it? And then that would be a 7, and that's absolutely fine. Oh, there's a 6, 8 pair in this column. Is that good? Oh, that... I don't know, actually. That might be fine. I've just noticed there's a 6 over here, for what that's worth. Can we do something Sudoku in this box? That digit has to be in one of those two squares. Golly, golly, gosh, this puzzle is it's brilliant. It is very, very peculiar that I can't just... Well, you probably can just fill it in, but I think you have to ask very precise questions about how this all works. 8, that would have to be a 4. We know one of those is 8. 2, 8, 5. That feels the most forcing. Oh! Hang on. No, that's okay, I think. I'm actually wondering if there's some issue with... I mustn't force this line to have something that's going to break these two cells, must I? So if this is 2, then there's definitely a 1 on this line, and there must be a 1 and a 4 on this line. If this is 2, this must be 1, 4, 7, 9. And if this is 4... Oh, hang on, how could that work? That's it. That's not 4. That's easy. Ah, that's really disappointing. That's really disappointing, but I just didn't see it. I've been focusing on this line, not this line. Okay, so GDC got me again. If this is 4, how could you fill this line? It has to have 2 digits lower than 5. And then once you can't have 4, it would have to have 1 and 3 on it, and that's going to break that square. So this is 2. Yes. Okay, so that's now not 1 or 2, so that's 8. That is 5, and we know that the line won't extend then. And indeed it doesn't. Okay, so we can get rid of our red highlighting. We now know that this line has to have 1 on it, because it can't have 3 and 4 on it. They're consecutive. So that square is going to be a 3 in the fog. Let's actually fill in the options for this line. So we know it's 7, 9. We now know it's 1 and 4. That's not 1. That's not 4. Can we do better than that? Please, please, please. Please let us do better. Right, those all come out. That too. Oh, that does give me a 1 here. That we were looking at that earlier. So this becomes... There's all sorts going on underneath the fog now. Let's see if we can... Let's see if we can work out anything useful. Oh look, yeah. Okay, so that we've got a 4-cell Nabner here as well. I think it looks like it's exactly 4 cells. This square isn't a 1. And is that good enough? What are these? Okay, let's have a look at the digits. 2, 3 and 5 into these squares. Oh, we can place the 2. That's a 2 now. This is a 3, 5 pair. Please. Please do something. I will be grateful. Okay, oh no, it doesn't work. I thought that would do so. Oh yeah, 3 here. There we go. 3 here, 5 here. Okay. So that can't be 6 anymore, can it? Because all of a sudden 4 and 6 are knocked off this line. And yeah, that's interesting. So if that's a 2, that would have to be a 7-9 pair, which is very forcing. And if that's an 8, then this has to be a 1-3 pair, and it can't be. Wow. So okay, if let's just double check that. If that's 8, we've got 8 and 5 on the line, so we can't have 4, 6, 7, or 9. So we have to have 1 and 3, but that square can be neither. So that's a 2. Gosh, this is tricky. Okay, so now we know this is 7-9 by exactly the same sort of logic. We've got 2 of the interior modulo digits. If you look at your keypads, that we've got a 2 and a 5, which are at the centre of the 1, 3, and the 4 and the 6. So all of those digits are sort of knocked off the line. We must need 7 and 9 to fill the line. So that's going to have to be 7. That's going to have to be 9. We learn another little thing about that line. Look. We've got 4, 6, and 9 into these squares by Sudoku, and we can knock 4 out of that one and 9 out of this one. Still, it's a sort of chocolate teapot triple. Right, so where... Oh, 8 here is doing some things. That's a 6, that's an 8, so that's an 8, and that's a 6. Please don't stop there. That's going to be a 1 or an 8 now. This column needs 1, 3, 4, and 9. Oh, so 9 in this column is done. So this is a 1... Oh, hang on. Well, 9 is done. I think I just said 1, 3, 4, and 9. That's total... No, that's total nonsense. Sorry. I've already got the 9 in this column. What am I talking about? 1, 3, 4, and 7 is what we need. So that square is a 1 or a 4. Oh, whoopsie. At least there's no fog up here, so I haven't inadvertently revealed something I shouldn't have known. That's 1, 4, or 8. 6 is now definitely in one of these squares. And 6 is definitely at the bottom of the grid down here. But we can extend that Nabner line slightly. It could do all sorts of things underneath the fog, though. If this line extended any further, then all of these would be odd. And that would be a 7 or a 9. That would be... I don't know what that would be, actually. Okay, so where do we look now? 7, that's giving me an 8 here. Oh, that cleared something. Not sure how useful what that did, whatever it did was, but it definitely cleared something. I think we better just pencil mark this up, better we? 4, 5, 6, and 9. So 4, 5, 6, and 9, and we know this is... So that's a 6-9 pair. Oh, I see. Yes. Okay. So that's by Sudoku. That's a 4, and that's a 5, which means this is a 9. The way it doesn't clear the fog is so disconcerting. That's a 9. That's a 6. We've got a 1, 4. We've got a snooker maximum here. We've got a 9 here though. So that's now become a 7. Another chocolate teapot triple emerging. Those digits have got to be 5, 6, and 9. Let's put that in. 5, 6, 9. Now, what can we do as a result of this? Well, these digits have to be low, don't they? We've got 4 high digits in column 8, so they're from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's not 5. That's not 2. That square, in fact, is a naked single, I've just noted. That's going to put even more pressure on these lines. Because now that's no 5 here. So these are 2 low digits. Can I put 5 on this line? No. Aha, that's the key. Once you can't put 5 on it, and you've got 2 low digits here, these have to be 2 high digits. And this one can't be 9, 8 or 6, so I think that has to be 7, and therefore this has to not be 6 or 8, and that's 9. Wow, that's going to do the top of the grid. So 9 and 6 go in. We've got 1, okay, so 7 comes out of these squares. 1s, 3s and 4s to place in this column. Come on, come on. We are maybe getting to the nuts and bolts of this. That bottom digit there is 1, 2, 3 or 4, but we don't know what. What about this column then? 4, 7 and 8 into these squares. Yeah, so the 8 can only go here in column 7. That square's a 4 or a 7. 8, oh no, I thought 8 was going to get locked onto this Nabner. Not that that actually looks like it's doing very much, but it would at least have been something, wouldn't it? I don't think that's going to do very much. Wow, so what on earth do we look at now? Row, we've got a, oh actually, okay, I've got a 4 in one of those squares apparently. So these squares only have 4 different options only. 1, 2, 7, 8. I'm going to pencil mark that. That one's can't be 2 or 7. Whoops, 2 or 7. That one can't be 8. That one seems to be able to be all sorts of things. 1, 4, 8 triple there. That looks like it's doing something. Yeah. Also, there's a 1, 6, 8 triple there, so we can definitely take 1 out of these squares. And I can take 8 out of the corner. Okay, so I'm left with a 2, 7 pair in the corner. Alright, so now, where does 8 go in this column? And it doesn't seem to be able to be up there, so it's got to be here, and that's going to... Oh, no. Okay. I thought this was going to be a short Nabner line. Well, I suppose I should be grateful. The long Nabner line's probably better. Doesn't this have to have 9 on it now? No, it doesn't, because it could be 1, 3, 5, 7. Right, why can't that be 1, 3, 5, 7? It can't be 1, 3, 5, 7 because... Well, actually, it is 1, 3, 5, 7 because there are actually 4 9s looking at this box I've just seen, and that's a 9. That's great. So this is 1, 3, 5, 7, and those are not 7, and that's not... Oh, that's the naked single. That's a 1. Okay, that must do it. That's not 5. I've just been consistently outsmarted by this puzzle, haven't I? That's really what's happened. That is the story of this video. Simon has been outsmarted at every turn by GDC. That's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind really. Okay, so now can we do it now? Come on, that digit. I should be able to get that digit given enough time. That's a 4. Okay. So these squares here have got to be 6 and 2, which we can fill in. That's 6. That's 2. The 2 is going to be the 2 and the 7. The 7 is going to do... Oh! Look! Look what that's going to do. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion, or proving its position today. That's a 7, so that's a 1, 4, 7. That's now a 4. Okay, well that's now a 3 then. So 3 and 4 come out of these squares. That's got to be a 1 to be non-consecutive. That's now 1 by Sudoku. That's a 2. We've got to put 5 and 6 into these squares. That's a 6 and that's a something. I want to say 4. Maybe that's wrong. 4 and 1 go into the top of the grid. What a puzzle that is. That was hard. That was hard. Congratulations, you found your way through the fog with the help of the Nabner lines. Well, I only just found my way through it. That was appallingly bad in places. I just couldn't get I couldn't see the little nubbins of restrictions that have been invested into this puzzle. It was very clever. It was really, really clever, and it kept misleading me. I mean, this not being able to see that couldn't, was it a 4 couldn't go there because I put 1, 3 on the line was really, Oh, that irks. And then what on earth was going on in this row? And that not being able to be 8 was very, very cool indeed. It's a brilliant puzzle. It really is. Nabner in the Nebula. I think my brain was in the nebula. But I actually really liked it. I know sometimes, well, I do really like it if I can see through a puzzle quickly or cleanly. But I also really respect puzzles like this one, where I know there must be something there. It's a fog puzzle. I know there must be something there. And yet, you really, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. I don't really want to hang my head in shame. I think it's actually respect to the constructor. Maybe loads of you in the comments will go, I can't believe how slow Simon was at this. I apologise if I've made you shout at me tonight. But I enjoy the comments much more if they're kind. And we'll be back later. GDC, take a bow. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.